The universe didn't scream when it began. It held its breath. Because when Superman felt fear for the first time in his immortal life, something ancient noticed. Something hungry. And it wasn't here to fight him. It was here to replace him. Hope has always been louder than fear. Until now. For most beings in the cosmos, fear is a weakness. A reflex. A shadow you outrun. But for Clark Kent, fear was never supposed to exist. He was raised on sunlight and certainty. A symbol built on the idea that no matter how dark things became, tomorrow would still arrive. That's why no one noticed when the fear began. Not the Justice League. Not the Guardians. Not even Clark himself. It started quietly. A half-second hesitation before saving a collapsing starship. A pause before charging into a war zone. Tiny moments where his mind asked a question it never had before. What if I fail? And somewhere deep in the emotional spectrum, something smiled. Because Parallax doesn't announce itself with explosions. It whispers. The first Rail crack appeared above Earth. A rift in space that bled yellow light. Not destructive. Not violent. Watching. Green Lantern sensors screamed warnings. Fear energy levels off the charts. Impossible levels. Levels that suggested not an invasion, but an awakening. Hal Jordan arrived first. And froze. Because the epicenter wasn't a planet. It wasn't a weapon. It was a person. Superman. Clark stood alone in orbit, staring at nothing. Cape drifting. Fists clenched. Hal called his name. No response. Then the yellow light moved. It didn't attack. It circled Clark like a predator testing prey. Parallax was learning him. Clark finally spoke. And his voice carried something new. Doubt. He saw visions. Cities he couldn't save. Worlds he arrived too late to. Faces of people who believed in him. Right before everything went wrong. Parallax fed those visions. Amplified them. Turned them into certainty. Hope makes you hesitate. The entity whispered inside his mind. Fear makes you act. Clark tried to fight it. Solar energy flared. The yellow light recoiled. But didn't retreat. Because Parallax doesn't overpower you. It waits until you agree. Across the galaxy, alarms rang. Guardians convened. Ancient beings who had seen universes die. Their verdict was unanimous. If Superman fell, hope across the cosmos would fracture. Batman was already moving. Silent. Prepared. He didn't ask if Clark was compromised. He asked how long they had. The answer was worse than expected. Parallax wasn't possessing Superman. It was synchronizing with him. Fear and hope were colliding inside the most powerful being alive. The first test came on Apocalypse. Darkseid's world. Place built on cruelty. Parallax nudged Clark's mind. Showed him futures where Darkseid won. Where billions suffered because Superman held back. So Clark didn't hold back. The impact shattered continents. Darkseid was buried under molten stone. Alive, but broken. The victory should have felt good. Didn't. Clark felt relief. Relief born from fear. That was Parallax's opening. Earth noticed next. Superman began arriving faster. Leaving sooner. Saving lives with brutal efficiency. No speeches. No reassurance. Hope doesn't rush. Fear does. Wonder Woman confronted him. Spoke of balance. Of compassion. Clark listened. Then asked her a question that froze her blood. How many would you let die to feel morally right? Parallax pulsed brighter. The League realized the truth too late. This wasn't mind control. This was evolution. A Superman who believed fear was necessary. The final breaking point came when Brainiac returned. Not with an army. With a device. A beacon tuned directly to emotional wavelengths. Parallax surged. The sky turned yellow. Clark screamed. Not in pain. In rage. Hope fought back. Memories of Smallville. Jonathan Kent's voice. Lois's heartbeat. For a moment Parallax faltered. And that's when Batman did the unthinkable. He activated the Phantom Projector. Not to banish Parallax. to separate Superman from hope itself. For 3 seconds, Clark felt what the universe would be without him. Cold, silent, afraid. Parallax recoiled, because fear without hope is meaningless. Superman collapsed. The yellow light screamed, tore itself free, but it didn't flee. It hovered above Earth, wounded, enraged, and it spoke one final truth. This universe will fear again. Clark rose slowly, weaker, changed. He didn't chase Parallax. He watched it vanish, because he understood something now. Fear isn't the enemy, but it can never lead. The universe survived. Barely. But the question lingered. If hope can feel fear, what happens next time fear learns patience? Because Parallax is still out there. And now, it knows Superman can break. That's the terrifying part. Not that fear almost won, but that it learned how close it came. And if you think this was the end, it wasn't. Because next time, Parallax won't target Superman. It'll target what he stands for. So if you want to see what happens when hope is forced to make an impossible choice, you're already too late to look away.